In today's video, those of you who already know the channel are going to watch the ultimate GTA 5 iceberg. A while back, I had already posted a GTA 5 iceberg video, but thanks to the Gator Keys channel and several new GTA 5 mystery channels that popped up after his success on YouTube, solving open GTA 5 mysteries and presenting new theories on some topics, my previous video became outdated. For those who don't know about game icebergs or icebergs on any specific topic, it's a video where I show you various mysteries arranged so that everything well known is at the surface of the iceberg, and the completely unknown theories or mysteries are down at the bottom, totally submerged, in the dark, empty, hidden. Got it? This iceberg will have 6 levels, and through these 6 levels I'll bring you everything from the most famous mysteries and secrets at the surface, all the way down to the deepest part with mysteries that very likely almost no one has seen or knows about. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this video, so let's get started. Level 1, let's start here at the surface talking about a very well-known mystery, which is the abandoned mine. The abandoned mine is a real mystery within GTA 5. This mine has 2 mysteries in total. It's a mine located under a mountain with a wooden door that we can blow up to get inside. When the mine is opened for the first time, we can enter and find a corpse that's directly linked to a mission. The name of the corpse is Isaac, and it's connected to a side investigative mission in the game that we can unlock and complete after progressing through part of the main story. You can only solve this mystery after finishing the meltdown mission in the main story. Well, for that, we have to go through locations in the game, following a series of clues you can see on the walls or in some spots, and we can discover, like I'm showing you, that every time we find a clue, a sound will play in the game, a sound will unlock in the game letting us know we're doing the steps of this mission, right? And that way we'll keep looking for the clues in order. As I'm showing you, after finding 4 texts carved on walls, we head to the sea to find the first corpse of this side mission. This first corpse is in the water right next to Fort Zancudo, really close by, and when we find this body, we'll also hear a sound to confirm it's part of the mission. Then after you find the first corpse underwater, you enter Solomon Richards' movie studios. That's right, you actually get to go inside. Once inside, you'll find a letter that explains in more detail what happened and why the murders took place. And finally, to complete the mission, we'll go to the abandoned mine where we can see the second corpse. After seeing the second body, which is Isaac, we unlock his contact, Isaac Dead. From there, if we call Isaac once, we get a vintage filter in the game. Calling twice switches to a black and white filter. And if we dial the number a third time, it removes the effect and the game goes back to normal. The second unsolved mystery inside this mine, which still has no explanation, is that once you enter the mine, besides the corpse lying on the ground, you can hear strange sounds of footsteps or movements inside. This would only confirm that somehow the abandoned mine is truly haunted and is possibly one of the most visible and easiest paranormal spots to find in the entire game. The Mount Chiliad mural. The Mount Chiliad mural was for a long time the main mystery of GTA 5, possibly the biggest area in the game with paranormal activity recorded by the GTA 5 myth hunting community. There are many mysteries on this mountain, but we'll only talk about the most important one. The mystery that drove the community crazy, especially in 2013, 2014, and 2015. I'm talking about the stone mural that exists on Mount Chiliad. At first it was believed that this mural was intentionally placed to reveal a secret that would lead us to the jetpack, as well as lines and locations to try to find the jetpack or an alien egg. The alien egg was also never found, at least not in story mode. In GTA Online, after completing 600 bunker missions in GTA 5 Online, there's a mission where you can grab the alien egg and find a crashed UFO. This UFO has never appeared in the story, so it's a brand new, completely destroyed ship. But this mission only shows up once. Besides that, the alien egg was found as an Easter egg on Cayo Perico Island and in another mission where it can be found inside a train in GTA Online. The jetpack was also never found in story mode, following a fate very similar to the alien eggs. It was made to be used in GTA Online missions. The jetpack appears in the Doomsday Heist DLC. After the 2022 source code leaks, we were able to confirm that this mural was indeed part of a DLC planned for GTA 5 called Agent Trevor, but it was scrapped due to the success of GTA Online. Most of its content was reused for the Doomsday DLC in GTA Online. It's really a shame, and we'll talk more about these DLCs a bit later, as well as the need to reassign the team to work on Red Dead Redemption 2. The conclusion about the Mount Chiliad mural after this leak reached a pretty interesting point. If you look at the image, you'll see at the top the all-seeing eye, which can also be interpreted as a UFO, but we can be sure it's an eye drawing because if you go to the top of Mount Chiliad, you can actually see an eye painted under the observation deck, along with the phrase that says to come back here when the story is complete. The second part to be uncovered on the mural is 5 squares marked with an X inside them. Each square represents a picture drawn on this mountain, and out of these 5 images, 3 give clues for you you to see a UFO at the top of the mountain. In one of the images, we can see the all-seeing eye along with a drawing of rain, and in another image, we basically see the same thing but with a drawing of a moon. So the moon represents night and rain represents rain. If you combine that with the text written at the top of Mount Chiliad telling you to come back after the story is complete, you just need to follow the instructions. So after completing 100% of GTA 5 and coming to this spot during rainy nighttime, I'd say between 2 and 3 a.m., you should be able to see a UFO flying over the mountain, shining a light from underneath it. That light is also shown in another drawing on the mountain, which confirms that these drawings on the mountain are actually clues on how to see the Mount Chiliad UFO. And with that, we've already uncovered the all-seeing eye at the top of the mural, the 5 squares marked with X, and the UFO drawing found at the bottom, next to the jetpack and the alien egg, which, although planned as DLC for story mode, were only included in online mode. A theory that's been gaining massive traction about the Mount Chiliad mystery was presented by the YouTuber GatorKeys. According to him, the mystery was never about unlocking a physical secret, like a hidden jetpack or a secret mission. In fact, the Mount Chiliad mural has always been an interpretative map, not a rewards map. The theory starts from the idea that the mural isn't there by chance, but its meaning has been misunderstood for over a decade. He begins by analyzing the 3 symbols located at the bottom of the mural. The first is the UFO symbol on the left. According to him, this symbol represents 2 of the 3 UFOs in the game, specifically the Alien Camp UFO and the Fort Zancudo UFO. That's because the line coming out of the UFO splits into 2 and then connects to the center of the mural, indicating multiple events linked to the same progression point. The second symbol is the jetpack, which according to the theory doesn't represent a literal jetpack, it simply symbolizes flying high. Rockstar could have used a helicopter or plane, but they chose the jetpack because of its symbolic weight coming from GTA San Andreas. In other words, the jetpack is just a visual reference to the act of rising into the sky. This would explain why there's no unlockable jetpack in story mode. The third symbol is the egg. According to GatorKeys, this is the most misunderstood symbol of them all. The egg represents the player and their progress in the game, going from 0% to 100%. That's why there's a direct line connecting the egg to the all-seeing eye at the top of the mural. This eye represents the Mount Chiliad UFO, which only appears when the player reaches 100% completion. The meaning of the lines, all the lines on the mural converge into a central line. According to the theory, this central line isn't a physical path, but the game's progression line. When the player reaches 100%, all conditions connect at that point. This explains the phrase written at the top of Mount Chiliad that tells you to come back after finishing the story. And according to GatorKeys, this isn't just about story mode, but the game's full 100% completion. On the mural, there are 5 squares with an X inside. According to GatorKeys, these squares represent the 5 white glyphs scattered across Mount Chiliad. The 6th glyph, the red one, is the all-seeing eye at the top of the mural itself. These glyphs act as visual markers, indicating locations and conditions. The position of the squares on the mural matches exactly the position of the glyphs on the map when viewed from a specific point at the base of the mountain. In other words, the mural works like a kind of alignment map. One of the squares shifted to the left points to the Alien Camp UFO, located alone on that side of the map. Another square at the base of the mural directly points to the UFO at the top of Mount Chiliad. The other 3 squares represent necessary conditions, not location. One indicates the event happens at night, another indicates it needs to be raining or stormy, and the one in the center indicates the UFO appears at the top of the mountain. These details line up exactly with the real conditions for the Mount Chiliad UFO to appear. According to this theory, the Fort Zancudo UFO is different from the other 2. It's not a standard UFO, that's why it doesn't have a traditional glyph. The game itself gives another clue, the strange lights in the military base's sky. Those lights would be the functional equivalent of a glyph. At the top of the mural is the all-seeing eye. Yes, it represents the UFO that appears when you reach 100%, but according to GatorKeys, this symbol goes beyond that. The most important detail is that the Mount Chiliad UFO has the FIB logo spinning on its side. This suggests that the UFOs aren't alien, they're human creations, more specifically from the government, and that the Mount Chiliad mural basically serves as instructions to spot all the UFOs and thus discover that the all-seeing eye is the FIB, watching over everything and everyone. Bigfoot was probably the biggest urban legend in the GTA saga, since the internet was flooded for a while with mods featuring sounds, images, and even Bigfoot missions in GTA San Andreas. But they were all just mods, so from my point of view as a kind of fan service, Rockstar decided to include a Bigfoot mission that only unlocks after you complete 100% of the game. In this mission called The Last One, the player has to hunt Bigfoot, and after cornering him, we see that Bigfoot is actually a guy in a costume, trying to live out his rare and eccentric fantasies. Even even shocking Franklin because of how crazy it seems, this doesn't completely rule out the theory that Bigfoot exists since it was discovered during the mission where we're hunting the last O'Neill brothers. When using the thermal scope, you can briefly see Bigfoot's heat signature. However, this Bigfoot disappears, which makes the community believe there really is a Bigfoot in the game, living and hiding. Also, we can see a big evolution of Bigfoot in the GTA franchise, going from a myth in GTA San Andreas to now being part of the game's culture in GTA 5 with clothing stores named Yeti, Bigfoot print t-shirts, and to show how much this is really part of society, there's even an image of Bigfoot inside the flag within the Los Santos logo, proving that he's fully rooted in society, not just as a myth anymore, but as a part of the player's culture, the GTA universe. According to YouTuber Gator Keys, the way Rockstar handled Bigfoot in GTA 5 isn't just tied to the myth created in GTA San Andreas, but also to one of the most famous real-life Bigfoot cases. His theory says Rockstar had to make an important decision during GTA 5's development, whether Bigfoot would be real within the game's universe, like in Red Dead Redemption, or if he would remain just a legend, and the choice was clear. In the GTA universe, Bigfoot isn't real. The Bigfoot hunting mission makes this obvious by revealing that Bigfoot is just a man in a costume. For Gator Keys, this isn't random or just a joke. That choice is directly based on a real event known as the Patterson-Gimlin film from 1967. In this case, two men claim to have filmed Bigfoot walking through a forest in California. This footage became the biggest and most famous proof of Bigfoot's existence, still debated today by scientists, researchers, and enthusiasts. Some argue the movements look real, while others say the walk is clearly human. Decades later, important revelations came out. A costume maker said he sold a modified gorilla suit to the man who filmed it, and years later, a man named Bob Hieronymus publicly claimed he was the Bigfoot in the video, wearing a costume designed to fool the public. According to this theory, Rockstar was inspired exactly by this, a man in a costume who managed to create a worldwide legend. This explains why in GTA 5 the player first sees something strange through the thermal scope, believes they're facing a real creature, and only later, upon completing the game, discovers the truth when confronting Bigfoot face to face and exposing him. Killer clowns. In the side mission called Legalize Ja, which is the mission where our characters smoke the strongest weed in the universe, this is the only mission in all of GTA 5 where we have direct visual contact with clowns inside the game. During the mission, they appear as enemies and start attacking Trevor. However, everything points to the fact that these clowns aren't real within the game's universe. They are a product of Trevor's hallucinations and psychological trauma, since in a dialogue he states he was abused by a clown in the past. This reinforces the idea that the whole sequence is a manifestation of the character's disturbed mind, intensified by the drug's effects.
How many of you sex offenders are there? But you know what? I hate clowns. They scare me. I scare myself.
Even so, there's a detail that turns this mission into a mystery. During this event, you can see a clown van, a vehicle you can't get through normal means in the game. Also, when you kill the clowns, they explode, which doesn't happen with any other regular NPC in GTA 5. To this day, there's no official explanation for those explosions. They might just be another part of the hallucination, with no need for internal logic, or maybe an intentional nod to something bigger that Rockstar never explained. That's exactly why the killer clowns remain a small, isolated mystery within the game. Aliens. Aliens are real and confirmed within GTA 5. In fact, GTA 5 is the game that has given us the most proof that aliens are present, both physically and with their respective UFOs. There are a total of 4 UFOs found in the game so far. 3 of them appear in specific locations and altitudes after completing 100%, and the 4th UFO is at the bottom of the ocean. This one seems to be the only actual alien UFO, since the others bear the FIB symbol or have military features, which could mean that FIB copied the alien technology sunk in the ocean. Besides that sunken UFO, Omega claims to have been abducted by aliens and that their ship crashed, which kicks off the collectible quest for the alien ship parts for Omega, and he actually manages to get something working at the end of the collectible.
They came to me last week. There was a brilliant joy and a terrible confusion, and they were laughing and screaming and crying all at once. And some said, "Omega, we come in peace." And others said, "We have come to enslave you. We are an infinitely intelligent race of supercosmic beings, and out of the 6 billion people on this planet, we have chosen you for no good reason." And just then they were about to abduct me and do experiments on me when their ship crashed.
There's also a frozen alien in North Yankton that can be seen since the very first mission of the game, in the prologue. It's also believed that civilians know about the existence of aliens, because the frozen alien looks exactly like the costumes used in movies to portray aliens, which gives the impression that humans actually know what aliens really look like. Aliens show up in the prologue mission, they also appear in the mission Legalize J, and in the mission Did Somebody Say Yoga, when Michael is drugged by Jimmy and gets abducted, studied, and then released by the aliens. And since Michael was under the influence of substances, it's hard to say for sure if he really was abducted or not. But what truly proves that aliens exist in the GTA universe beyond the frozen alien is an underground base beneath Fort Zancudo that was cut from the final version of GTA 5, but will be shown later in this iceberg, revealing a full lab where these beings are studied and dissected by humans. Level 2. The Altruists. The Altruists are also a real and confirmed mystery in GTA 5. They're a cult of cannibal lunatics who believe the world has been rotten since the millennials arrived. That's why they seek to destroy everyone and take refuge on Mount Chiliad in a heavily guarded compound. To do missions for this cult, you have to bring hitchhiker victims to Trevor, who can be found during random events. They'll be sacrificed in the name of this religion, and after Trevor drops off 3 hitchhikers, we get to take part in a side mission where we also get kidnapped by them. That way we can see part of their ritual and kill several members, which leads to us earning a big payout spread across 4 briefcases with $25,000 each. The place with the most mysteries about this cult is a cave located right below the main camp, where we can see some satanic rituals the cult uses to carry out their massacres, all in the name of a symbol of a sun or the all-seeing eye. To make this mystery even stranger, you can access a cult webpage where you'll find a curious message written in Morse code that's already been solved and basically tells us the commandments of this cult, about their worship and plans for revolution and human cannibalism. This cult is similar to the Epsilon program, but way more macabre, satanic, and disturbing. The Altruist cult is one of the best mysteries in GTA 5, and even so, few people know how deep it really goes. Leonora Johnson. One mystery that sparked a lot of debate in the community and led to major discussions was, who killed Leonora Johnson? Leonora Johnson was an actress who was on the verge of becoming really famous in her youth. Actually, she was already somewhat famous. She was brutally murdered by the hands of a millionaire psychopath. While playing as Franklin, you can find 50 letter fragments with clues about the murder, and gathering all these pieces will help clear up the mystery of who the real killer of the actress was. The letters were written by a guy named Peter Dreyfuss. On top of that, he also wrote and sent letters, keepsakes, and even her lips to Leonora's family after killing her, just to torment and entertain himself with the brutal fate the actress suffered at the hands of this psychopath. The mystery shows up on an in-game website called WhoKilledLeonoraJohnson.com, where we can find very graphic images of her body completely dismembered by the killer, who raped, tortured, and murdered her, according to him, all in the name of art, claiming it would take his creativity and art to the next level. If we collect all 50 of Dreyfuss's letter fragments scattered across the map, we can track him down and solve the mystery by chasing him in a small mission where the player gets to choose whether to take justice into their own hands or set the psycho free. After this mission, the truth about Peter Dreyfuss is broadcast on the game's radio and news channels, implying that once Franklin uncovers the truth and avenges Leonora, he reveals it to the public.
A breakthrough in the notorious Leonora Johnson case. Since 1975, the brutal murder and dismemberment of starlet Leonora Johnson has remained unsolved and captivated conspiracy theorists. Now, there may be a breakthrough. Ira Richards, Vice President of Marketing at Richards Majestic and grandson of movie mogul David Richards, told a reporter that his grandfather claimed to have destroyed a confession letter in the weeks before his death. Mr. Richards Sr. passed away last year at the age of 103. His son, Solomon Richards, has run the family studio since 1978 and told reporters he knew nothing beyond the fact his son was a moron and his father was delusional.
Breaking news.
Still no breakthrough in the Leonora Johnson case. Amateur sleuths continue their search.
Following the news that a confession letter was destroyed by movie mogul David Richards, crime obsessives and amateur detectives are trying to discover who killed Leonora Johnson in a bloody and unsolved murder nearly 40 years ago. The starlet was hacked to death in a murder many believe was covered up. Now the long cold case is getting warm.
According to various theories, Rockstar was directly inspired by the real-life case of Elizabeth Short, the Black Dahlia, murdered in Los Angeles in 1947. Same city, same brutality, same media circus, and the same cover-up. And if Rockstar really did take inspiration from this case, they didn't recreate that crime just for nothing. They recreated it as a critique of real life, at least that's my take. Nothing is confirmed, Rockstar has never commented on it, but everything points to the fact that it was indeed inspired by this real case. case. Jolene Cranley, the ghost of Mount Gordo, well known in GTA 5 as the Mount Gordo Ghost Mystery or the Mount Gordo Mystery. It's one of the most famous mysteries and also a real mystery in GTA 5. It was one of the first mysteries to be uncovered. If you go to that mountain area between 11 p.m. and midnight, you can see a specter or ghost appearing in a corner of the mountain close to the edge. You'll also hear creepy noises and screams from that same ghost, which suggest they're the screams of the person when they were murdered. If you get too close, the ghost might disappear depending on which version of GTA 5 you're playing, and it's fair to say the ghost is completely harmless. It will never attack the player. When this ghost was discovered, the mystery turned into a crazy community hunt for answers to find out the truth about who the ghost really was. Sometime later, the truth behind this mystery was uncovered. If you look closely at the spot where the ghost appears, you can notice a name written in blood right below the ghost. The name is Jock. When we investigate, we see that the ghost woman is Jolene Cranley, ex-wife of the Los Santos movie actor named Jock Cranley, who is now running for governor. This is the actor that the old celebrity-obsessed folks mention when they first see Trevor. According to a piece of the investigation newspaper found on Leonora Johnson's webpage, everything happened one afternoon in 1978 while Jolene and Jock were on the cliff and Jolene fell. It was a terrible accident. But the truth is that Jock intentionally pushed her off the cliff, killing her. They say Jock killed Jolene because she didn't approve of them moving to Los Santos and that it could ruin Jock's career, so he killed her. This news can be read in a newspaper found in the desert, and it was thanks to that paper that the big mystery was solved. Besides that newspaper hidden in the mystery, you can also see this in one of the tabs on the pages about who killed Leonora Johnson, shown as an ad in the corner of the page. There you'll also have access to this article. There's no reward for solving the mystery, and as far as anyone knows, Jock remains free and unpunished after killing Jolene. According to YouTuber Gator Keys, the mystery of the Monte Gordo ghost wasn't created just as a fictional Easter egg, but was actually inspired by a real case that happened in the United States. Rockstar supposedly adapted a true urban legend into the GTA 5 universe. According to this theory, the name Monte Gordo comes directly from Gordon Mountain in Pennsylvania. In 1925, the body of a young woman was found in that area, brutally murdered. The crime was never solved, the victim was never identified, and no one was held responsible. Shortly after, reports started to emerge that the place was haunted. People said they heard screams, saw a woman sitting on rocks near the road, and even witnessed vehicles shutting off on their own while the figure watched the cars as if searching for someone. According to this theory, Rockstar condensed these real-life reports into a single mystery in GTA 5, meaning the screams heard at Monte Gordo, the ghost's fixed appearance on the rock, and the name written in blood below it aren't random but direct references to this real legend. So both in the game and in real life, the ghost would have the same goal: to reveal the truth about her death and seek justice, something that never happened in either case, which might be why, even knowing who the killer is in the game, you can't avenge Jolene. The Epsilon program? The Epsilon program is a cult of crazy scammers who wear light blue clothes and robes. Rockstar created real websites in our world that encourage you to join the cult, fictionally of course within the game. In this cult they serve a god named Kiflom. Their leader and guide is Chris Formage, who is apparently the founder of the cult. This cult is a parody of a real-life cult called Scientology. In GTA 5 you have the chance to join this cult with the character Michael through a series of side missions that involve all kinds of crazy tasks, from stealing vehicles to running miles in the desert wearing a robe. If we do everything right and choose the correct ending, we'll have the chance to win $2 million and even outsmart Chris. The mystery of this cult in GTA 5 lies in the fact that on the Los Santos seal, you can spot the cult's logo, and it's believed that a huge part of Los Santos' population, including its governments, either belong to or are heavily influenced by this cult, with some parts of Los Santos treating its doctrine as their only religion. The Epsilon program is present throughout large parts of the game, and it's believed they have connections with both aliens and government officials, infiltrating the state's leadership. The cancelled DLCs. In December 2023, the GTA 5 source code was leaked, bringing with it a ton of info about the game that never went public. The most viral piece of info was the clues about DLCs that were supposed to be released for GTA 5 story mode over the years but never saw the light of day: Assassination Pack, Manhunt Pack, Norman Pack, Agent Trevor, Relationship Pack, Enterprise Pack, Prologue DLC, Liberty V DLC. Among these, the ones that got the most attention were the Prologue DLC, DLC, which probably would have told more about the time when Michael betrayed Trevor and Brad, showing how things got to that point or what happened afterward, the Liberty TV DLC, which likely involved doing some missions in Liberty City, and the DLC with the most info in those files, the Agent Trevor DLC, which mentions the jetpack and the AI Clifford. In other words, this makes it clear that the GTA Online Doomsday DLC is basically an adaptation of what the Agent Trevor DLC would have been. The Howling Tunnel, or the Howl in the Tunnel. The Howling Tunnel is one of the darkest and least understood mysteries in GTA 5, even though it shows up in almost every game Iceberg. It's an extremely rare sound like a wolf howling echoing in the distance that can be heard inside a specific tunnel on Mount Chiliad. For years, players claimed to hear this sound, but there was hardly any solid proof, which made a lot of people think it was just imagination, an audio bug, or fake videos made to trick the community. What made this mystery even weirder is that for many years, there was only one video online proving the existence of this sound, and that video eventually went private. The audio doesn't play all the time, doesn't follow any obvious pattern, and can easily be drowned out by the noise of trains passing through the tunnel. That's why the Howling Tunnel was treated like something nonsense with no explanation or clear purpose in the game. According to the investigation by YouTuber Gator Keys, the sound can be heard if the player is inside the Monte Chiliad tunnel, on the side closest to Paleto Bay between 9 PM and 4 AM, being more common between 2 AM and 4 AM. The audio is extremely low, requires high volume, and might not play even under the right conditions, which explains why this mystery was doubted for so long. The sound works both in story mode and online, but it's easier to test in director mode since it allows time control. When analyzing the game files, Gator Keys found that the audio officially exists in GTA 5's source code and is named Distant Forest Wolf. This confirms two important things. First, the sound is not a bug and not forgotten developer content, and second, it is intentionally the howl of a single wolf, not a pack. Here's the point that finally closes the mystery. GTA 5 is set in California and all the animals in the game follow a realistic logic. Historically, wolves were almost wiped out in California during the 20th century. During GTA 5's development period between 2010 and 2013, there was only one confirmed record of a living wolf roaming the state since 1924. A single wolf, lonely, rare, and almost invisible. According to the theory presented by Gator Keys, the Howling Tunnel isn't an unanswered enigma, but an extremely subtle Easter egg. The howl echoing inside the tunnel represents exactly that lone real-life wolf, perfectly reflecting California's true situation at the time. That's why there are no visible wolves on the GTA 5 map, only the distant echo of one that still exists. And if you're enjoying this video, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel to keep it from fading away and disappearing like the wolf from the legend. Level 3. Racist Cops. Racist cops are a possible Easter egg we can see with Franklin, who is the black protagonist of the game. According to the Racist Cops theory, Franklin tends to get way more insults and slurs than the other two players, Michael and Trevor. Also, a lot of times the cops will attack Franklin for no reason, or at least way more often than they would with Michael or Trevor, even when he's not doing anything to raise a wanted level. For players who believe in this theory, the racism was included in the game as a nod to what actually happens in real life, and supposedly there's a cop dialogue in GTA 5 where a cop says he only listens to white rappers. I couldn't find that line or any audio of it online, so I'll just treat that as a rumor. According to Myth Hunters, racist cops in GTA 5 are real, but according to Rockstar, if I'm not mistaken, there was a big backlash early on when this started blowing up online about racist cops, and Rockstar ended up releasing a statement saying there's no racism like that in the game. It could be that it's there and Rockstar will deny it to the end to avoid discrimination lawsuit. Lights at Fort Zancudo. Fort Zancudo is the biggest military base in GTA 5. Basically, it's so restricted that it doesn't even show up on the map, which is why as soon as you enter Fort Zancudo, you get a 4-star wanted level and all the army guys will try to kill you, including tanks, something that only happens inside Fort Zancudo. Many players say that experiments with aliens happen there, which is why years ago a mystery was discovered. If you manage to get into the base at midnight and climb up on this rooftop, you can find a mysterious green light coming from the sky. This light starts around midnight and grows until it peaks at 3 AM. At 4 AM, the light mysteriously disappears, and the strangest part is that the light has no visible source to the naked eye. Not even with mods can we find where it's coming from. Much higher in the sky you can spot a UFO, which is very likely what's causing the green light at Fort Zancudo. However, if you climb up to the UFO spot at that same time, you'll see the light isn't actually coming from it. The only way to see the source of this light is by recording the scene inside GTA 5 and installing the free camera mod within the Rockstar editor. By analyzing the clip with unlimited camera movement, you can see that the light simply starts out of nowhere, having no direct connection to the UFO hovering right above that spot. According to YouTuber Gator Keys, these lights at Fort Zancudo are just a hint that there's a UFO to be discovered here, just like there's an indicator at the top of Mount Chiliad and another at the alien camp in Sandy Shores. It's a valid theory and makes sense as Rockstar's way of dropping a clue about a UFO above that base. However, the fact that the lights aren't directly connected to the UFO, and the UFO isn't exactly above the lights, in fact it's a bit to the side and much higher up, leaves some doubt in the air about whether these lights are just a hint or if there's something more to them. The secret bunker at Fort Zancudo. The most interesting thing about this place where the lights appear is that underneath it there's an area that supposedly should be accessible, but after checking with mods and all, nothing was ever found, at least not until recently. Some images popped up on the GTA forums showing an underground base that would have been the base under development for this part of the map, but it was never actually used. This area hadn't been discovered before because in all released versions of the game it had already been removed from the files. A user named Hey Slick That's Me says he managed to find this map in a GTA 5 version prior to the one released to the public, a development version he got access to on a PS3 dev kit. In other words, this guy got access to a version earlier than the 1.0 release for PS3, and that's how he found this map. With these images, it's more certain that there was originally a secret base at this Fort Zancudo location, and the lights pointing to this spot would be one of the clues for players to find it. To give you an idea, at first he only managed to access the collision map of this interior, with some coordinates and a few files visible, but it wasn't possible to see the full interior with textures and all that. However, after they found out this place really existed, a modder named Transmet started reverse engineering this PS3 version of GTA 5 to try porting these files to PC, since on PC he would have more freedom and ease to dig through the files and figure out exactly how this bunker would be. He kept sharing some progress images, and after a few weeks he succeeded and released the location as a mod called Black Project Zancudo Facility. He claims he didn't add or remove anything from this bunker and only did the port of the content, but many collisions, lighting, and some other things were broken and needed fixing, so he just corrected errors and ported the rest. In other words, according to him, this bunker is exactly what should have been in GTA 5, but for some reason it was cut during the game's development. The place has extremely detailed experiment rooms and labs where we can see aliens, various projects, and some other stuff. The location is very reminiscent of the Humane Lab, and it seems the bunker reuses a lot of elements. In the rooms, besides aliens lying down undergoing experiments, there's also another area with aliens trapped in glass tanks filled with liquid. Further ahead, at the end of the bunker, there's a large but empty area, and judging by the design, I believe this is where aerial vehicles would be, most likely a UFO. With all this about the bunker that was discovered, from my point of view, the lights above this bunker inside Fort Zancudo were a clue pointing to access to this secret bunker, not to the UFO above the military base, and possibly inside the bunker, there would be hints about the UFO, or maybe it's a bigger mystery with all these points connected, linking the lights, the UFO, the bunker, and possibly some mission or side missions involving aliens. The sewer monster. Since 2013, players have reported strange sounds coming from the Los Santos sewer tunnels. At first, this mystery was known as the sewer monster because deep growls like those of a large creature could be heard behind blocked off tunnels. For a long time, nobody knew exactly what was making those noises, which led to theories about hidden monsters, cut creatures, or even secret Rockstar experiments. Over time, data miners uncovered something crucial. In GTA 5's files, there are 4 audio clips explicitly named Sewer Gator. This put the main question to rest. The sound wasn't a bug. It was intentionally placed there and clearly represents an alligator. The mystery then shifted from what is it to why does it exist. According to investigations by YouTuber Gator Keys, the audio isn't random like many believed. It can be consistently triggered by entering the sewers through the Los Santos River entrance, stopping before the second descent and slowly walking toward the blocked tunnel. The sound echoes in the distance and can be heard at various points throughout the sewer system, giving the impression that the creature is moving underground. Here's where interpretations start to split. Many believe the sewer gator was just a direct nod to the urban legend about alligators in the sewers, a story that's been super popular in the United States since the early 20th century, especially in New York. This legend was referenced multiple times by Rockstar in earlier games like GTA 4, in Liberty Tree and Weasel news reports, as well as fake ads about lost crocodiles. But according to in-depth analysis presented by the YouTuber Leonida Man, the sewer gator's legend isn't just fiction. Real cases helped fuel the myth, such as the 1907 incident in New Jersey, and later on the famous alligator named Reggie in Los Angeles, found living in a drainage system connected to an urban lake. The ultimate twist in the mystery comes with the Gator Keys theory, which points out that the sewer gator in GTA 5 is actually a direct reference to the movie Alligator, 1980. The film tells the story of an alligator that grows inside the sewers after being flushed down the toilet and feeds on the remains of illegal experiments. The coolest part is that all the sewer scenes in the movie were shot in Los Angeles, exactly where GTA 5 takes place. In the movie, the alligator moves through the sewers, shows up in different spots, and in the final showdown, it's killed near a broken staircase leading to a manhole. In GTA 5, every time the sewer gator sound can be heard, there are broken stairs and blocked tunnels right nearby, a detail repeated consistently. This makes it extremely unlikely to be a coincidence. Rockstar didn't put a physical alligator on the map. Like with other game mysteries, they prefer to suggest rather than show. The distant sound sparks the player's imagination, linking the game to urban legends, real events, and movie references all at once without ever giving it all away explicitly. Niko Bellic is the main protagonist of GTA 4, and the mystery lies in the fact that we don't know what happened to him after the story of GTA 4. It's believed that he's dead, but this theory falls apart when we see Niko Bellic present in GTA 5 through a Life Invader profile, which is the most popular social network in the game. There's also Lester once mentioning an Eastern European man of Serbian origin who works in Liberty City, which further fuels the idea that Niko is alive. But without a doubt, one of the biggest teasers of this mystery is in the game's desert, where in one of the houses nearby, you can find a wanted poster with Niko Bellic's face. This poster is the same one that was used to promote GTA 4 years ago with the phrase "Niko Bellic is alive or dead."
There was an Eastern European guy making moves in Liberty City, but he went quiet.
To make Niko Bellic's situation even stranger, there's a spot in Sandy Shores, a place where you go to play darts, that has a pool table. Underneath that pool table, there are several bloody footprints, and in the same bar, you can find Niko Bellic's clothes, plus a photo of him from GTA 4 driving a tow truck. This really raises the question, was Niko Bellic here? And if so, does the blood have something to do with him? Some theorize that Niko is dead because when Trevor enters this bar for the first time to finish a mission, the bar owner tells Trevor she doesn't want to see any more dead bodies in there. So some people ended up theorizing that Trevor killed Niko Bellic in this bar.
But any more bodies turn up in my bar.
And those bloodstains and footprints are from the fight that happened. I still believe Niko is alive and might even show up in some DLC, either as a mention in GTA Online or in GTA 6. The Infinite Killer. The Infinite Killer is one of the biggest mysteries and probably took the GTA 5 community the longest to solve, due to a whole series of steps. The mystery revolves around Merle Abrahams, a serial killer who murdered a total of 8 people and left clues throughout the GTA 5 desert, which help us find the 8 bodies. Merle Abrahams died in prison in 2004 at age 57 and never confessed where the bodies were, which is why it remained a mystery that the entire GTA community started working to solve. To begin with, we have the location of Merle Abrahams' house in Sandy Shores. The house is completely burned down and most likely destroyed by his neighbors, but the curious thing is that we can find the infinity symbol placed all over the place, along with several phrases written on the walls that give clues to go to different spots on the map. Not far from this house, there's a rock in the desert with another phrase written by the killer, which is a lullaby referring to his murders and this guy's mental state. Again, nearby there's also a destroyed cabin with a newspaper clipping nailed to the wall. This clipping talks about the death of Merle Abrahams and his 8 victims. This note only serves to tell us a bit more about Merle Abrahams' story, but not where the victims' bodies are. The paper also says that Merle died in prison. So heading to the desert prison, we finally arrive at the place that helped solve the mystery, which is the prison where Merle was held. On one of the desert prison walls, it's written that where the water meets the land and fire once again, there the infinite 8 will remain until it returns. Thanks to this writing and especially a drawing next to it, mystery hunters realized the bodies were under the GTA 5 Sea, an area full of islands, which is the image you can see right there. And finally, the 8 bodies were found on some small islands at the top of the map. The bodies are wrapped up and submerged underwater, and it's completely proven these are the 8 bodies Merle killed and refused to reveal before he died. With that, this mystery was solved. Just like the Mount Gordo ghost mystery, you don't get any trophy or achievement for completing it. This was, in my opinion, one of the best crafted mysteries in the game, and one of the ones I enjoyed solving the most. However, according to GTA Online and a few other things, it seems that that Merle Abrahams wasn't the Infinite Killer or he wasn't the only one. That's because in DLCs released later, like the one for Cayo Perico, we can see other inscriptions suggesting this killer is still out there. We spot a message on the Merryweather sub during the planning mission and another message next to a sewer entrance. That message could have easily been faked by a fan pretending to be the killer, but to make this mystery even darker, we can find 8 more bodies around the island, just like the ones we found in Los Santos, hinting that this killer had victims there too. Another fact supporting the theory that there's more than one Infinite Killer is a newspaper found in Sandy Shores, which says Merle Abrahams admitted to killing 8 men, but the bodies found are women. This suggests that the men Merle Abrahams killed were never found, and the bodies we found in the game belong to a partner we never met or maybe a fan who's following in his footsteps. The abandoned house, out in the middle of the Sandy Shores desert, there's a house that looks completely abandoned. There aren't any vehicles or pedestrians around that area. Besides the house having a really creepy vibe, it also looks super rundown. Among the myths surrounding this house, people believe there's a ghost and strange sounds come from inside. The theory is that someone was murdered inside the house and now their spirit lives there, which is why we hear those weird noises. You can't enter the house even with mods, since there are no textures inside. Even though the strange sounds are real in the game, no one has ever actually seen a ghost there. This is a little known mystery in the game, but it's still a mystery I believe is real and possibly solved. And I say possibly because according to the theory presented by the YouTuber GatorKeys, the abandoned house in Sandy Shores isn't connected to murders, ghosts, or supernatural entities within the GTA 5 universe. Actually, it's a historical Easter egg, directly inspired by a real place in the United States. According to him, this building is an almost identical recreation of a structure that exists, or once existed, in a ghost town in California called Ludlow. In real life, that town started as a railroad stop in the late 19th century, and later reinvented itself as a traveler's stop along Route 66, mainly serving as a hotel and rest point. With the creation of Interstate 40, which replaced Route 66 with a faster, more direct route, small towns like Ludlow completely lost their purpose. Businesses closed, residents left, and the place ended up abandoned, turning into a ghost town. To be honest, this really reminds me a lot of the movie Cars with McQueen and the town of Radiator Springs. I'll admit here, I love that movie. And according to this theory, the building that inspired the GTA 5 house was actually an old hotel, left behind after that economic collapse. According to GatorKeys, Rockstar didn't recreate the entire town, but condensed its existence into a single abandoned building, strategically placed near the railway and Route 68, the game's fictional equivalent of Route 66. So the house doesn't represent a paranormal mystery, but rather a piece of real American history, turned into a quiet backdrop within the GTA 5 map. In other words, despite the creepy vibe and the rumors the community has built up over the years, this house wouldn't be hiding a real ghost, but the memory of a dead town, something Rockstar often does, turning history into setting. But hey, tell me, Utz, what do you think? The house 1807, a little close to the border of Los Santos with the rural area, we can find a wall with the number 1807 written in blood with an arrow pointing left. If we decide to follow that arrow with the character, we can reach a house nearby that doesn't seem to have anything wrong, where there's usually a party going on with some people. But the strange thing here is that if the character touches any of those people, they simply die as if that house were cursed or glitched in some way. However, since this happens in all versions of GTA 5, it's probably not a game bug, but rather a mystery or an Easter egg that has never been uncovered. Everything points to it being a mystery because the sign on the wall pointing to this house indicates something's here. Even though we don't have an explanation, we have to agree it's something really bizarre. According to the theory presented by YouTuber Leonidaman, the mystery of the 1807 house isn't something supernatural within the GTA 5 universe, but rather a very subtle reference to one of the darkest episodes in Hollywood history. This interpretation suggests that the house marked by the number 1807 and the blood-painted arrow is inspired by a real residence on Cielo Drive in Los Angeles, the site of the Sharon Tate murders in 1969. Rockstar recreated not only the elevated and isolated position of the house, but also a little-known detail, the existence of a second, almost mirrored house right below the main one, something that was true of the real location as well. The number 1807 wasn't chosen randomly. It serves as a visual nod to Penal Code 187, used in the US for homicide, and also symbolically refers to the number of victims involved in the crimes that night. The arrow pointing directly at the house would reinforce this connection. The strange behavior of the NPCs who die instantly at the slightest contact, according to this theory, isn't a bug, but a symbolic layer representing the sudden, unresponsive deaths of the victims in the real case. Instead of recreating the crime explicitly, Rockstar chose a silent, unsettling tribute, leaving clues scattered around the environment for those willing to connect the dots. So the house 1807 isn't cursed or haunted by ghosts, but rather a hidden memorial, turning a real tragedy into a subtle Easter egg, just the way Rockstar usually handles sensitive topics. The ghost dog is a real and proven mystery in GTA 5. In a side mission, Franklin is practically approached by a dog barking desperately. It seems like Franklin can actually talk to this dog and they understand each other perfectly. This dog leads Franklin to a man who parachuted and got stuck in a tree during his landing, so Franklin can help him. The mystery starts when, as soon as we arrive and tell the man stuck in the tree about the dog that supposedly belongs to him, the guy says he doesn't have any dog. Then Franklin turns to look and notices the dog has simply disappeared. Up to that point, we don't see the dog in the main story, but we see him again later in a mission we do for that same guy. The same dog warns us that the parachuting man is in danger and we have to help him. This time we can follow the dog, but he doesn't lead us anywhere specific. When we find the guy, we see him hanging on the bars near the dam, about to jump. Without fear or remorse, he ends up jumping without a parachute and dies right there. It's possible the dog is some kind of guardian angel or ghost that was trying all along to help us save this guy.
Hey, bro! You mind giving me a hand here? Man, that's a cool-ass dog you got, homie. What dog? That dog that saved your ass, man. Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about right now. What the fuck?
There's a web page with a mysterious photo of a family standing next to a dog that looks a lot like the ghost dog. If you click the button below that says play as a god, another photo pops up showing all the family members, including the dog, dead in a car crash. Myth hunters claim this is the ghost dog Franklin was talking to. This dog tries to help others avoid doing crazy or dangerous stunts, just like the accident that caused its death and the death of the family that cared for it. According to a theory developed by YouTuber GatorKeys, the ghost dog isn't just some generic guardian angel or a random reference, but actually an entity directly connected to Dom's past, the guy obsessed with extreme jumps. He argues that the dog belonged to Dom when he was a kid. The basis for this theory is a webpage inside the game that I showed earlier. For GatorKeys, the boy in that photo is Dom himself, the only one who possibly survived the accident. According to this theory, the dog shows up whenever Dom is in real danger, not because of the stunts themselves, but when Dom loses emotional control. The first encounter happens when Dom gets stuck in a tree, directly referencing the family car crash that also hit a tree. The second and final warning comes when Dom decides to push all limits and ends up killing himself by jumping off the dam without a parachute. According to this interpretation, the dog was the family's old pet who died in the accident and started following Dom as a sort of spiritual guardian, trying to stop him from meeting the same fate. This also explains why Dom never talks about family, his past, or losses, besides his obsession with chasing extreme adrenaline like someone who survived a deep trauma. As a final detail, GatorKeys points out that Dom wears Prolapse branded clothes, the same brand seen on the kid in the image from the website, reinforcing the connection between them. For him, these aren't isolated coincidences but carefully placed clues by Rockstar. So the mystery isn't about angels or generic supernatural references, but about guilt, trauma, and a dog trying to save the only surviving family member. Level 4. The creepy laugh in the sewers, or Ratman. Besides the sewer gator's call, there's another super strange audio that can be heard in Los Santos' sewers. A low, distorted, and unsettling laugh. For years, this sound was dismissed as fake or just collective imagination since almost no one could reproduce it. Still, some players insisted that at a very specific spot in the tunnels, you could hear a laugh coming from behind a pitch-dark grate. Unlike other widely documented mysteries, this laugh is hard to trigger. It only happens in one exact spot in the sewer system, near a grate, and just once per approach. If the player wants to hear it again, they have to back away partially through the tunnel and come back. The sound is low, quick, and easy to miss, which explains why for years there were almost no reliable recordings of this event. Although many claimed this audio didn't exist in the GTA 5 files, deeper investigations by YouTuber GatorKeys proved otherwise. The laughter is present in the game's code under the name Hobo Laugh, which immediately stands out because for those who don't know, the word hobo is an old American English term referring to homeless people, wanderers, or those living on the margins, usually associated with railways, tunnels, sewers, and abandoned areas. So the name Hobo Laugh basically means something like the laugh of a bum or a homeless person. This detail is important because historically, the character known as Ratman has always been described as a homeless person, someone living in extreme conditions in the underground tunnels. Unlike Bigfoot or other myths that got clear visual representations, Ratman never physically appears. However, this audio acts as an indirect confirmation of his existence within the game's lore. Just like the sewer gator, he's not something meant to be seen but rather heard, hinted at, and imagined, which makes the mystery even more unsettling. Ratman wasn't born in the GTA universe, he's actually a real urban legend from Southend-on-Sea, England. The story tells of a homeless man who was brutally attacked by some youths and later died in the tunnels. According to the legend, rats supposedly ate his face, and since then a deformed figure making strange noises started being seen around that area. This story spread for decades and eventually became part of the popular imagination. In 2008, this legend was brought into Rockstar's world through GTA 4. A heavily blurred image surfaced on forums supposedly showing a rat-like humanoid in the Liberty City subway tunnels. This kicked off one of the biggest myth hunts in the franchise's history, second only to Bigfoot in GTA San Andreas. Even though there was never any concrete proof, the cultural impact was huge, just like what happened with Bigfoot, who didn't actually exist in San Andreas but was officially added to GTA 5 because of the hype. Ratman followed a similar path. Rockstar chose not to show the character but left clear clues of his existence through the audio. Black cell phones. This is a really weird mystery in GTA 5. If you call the number 1-99367-3767 with any character, you'll see the phone name show up as black cell phones, and then there's an explosion above the character's head. After the explosion, which doesn't hurt you at all, you'll notice your phone turns completely black, and even the phone's background image goes black. That alone might not be enough to convince you there's a mystery behind this number. But to make things even stranger, if you call that number from the top of the Rebel radio tower, you'll hear a really weird interference right after the explosion, suggesting this is part of a mystery that still hasn't been solved. According to well-documented and long-standing discussions on Reddit and community forums, this number isn't part of any bigger mystery in the game. Analyses done after the 2023 leaks and inspections of internal files show that this call was actually a test code created by Rockstar to validate the cheat system via cell phone, which was only implemented in the next-gen versions of GTA 5. In fact, in internal files, this effect is described as something like monochrome cell phone, test cheat, which explains the phone turning black, the visual explosion without damage, and the fact that nothing else happens in the game world. So, despite the weird appearance and all the speculation around it, everything points to the black cell phones not hiding any narrative secret. It's just a technical leftover intentionally left in the game as a functional Easter egg for Rockstar's internal testing. Unlike the black cell phone code, if you hit subscribe and like the video, there won't be any explosions at your house, so besides being completely safe, it would really help the channel grow, so I'm counting on your support. The secret webs. I have to say that at the time I'm making this video, this mystery became way more interesting to me because of the web mystery in Red Dead 2. During the game, you can find, in a very peculiar way, two drawings that look like spider webs with no explanation at all. These webs appear in two spots on the map. The first spot is under the cable car frame on Mount Chiliad. If you come here exactly at this time, which is after 1 AM, and to see the web, you can't be looking at the place where it's going to show up. As soon as it hits 1 AM, look the other way on the map, then look back and you'll see this web. The same thing happens a little bit nearby, exactly at this part of the map. Following the same requirements, you'll be able to see this web. After 2 AM, if you turn the camera and look again, the web will have disappeared with no explanation. In GTA 5, it seems like this mystery has no solution, since players have tried everything and haven't discovered anything else. But this mystery really starts to get interesting at the beginning of 2026, because now there's a chance that the answer to these webs was never just in GTA 5. With more recent discoveries in Red Dead Redemption 2, it became clear that Rockstar reused the exact same concept, spider webs that only show up at specific times for just 1 hour in-game and disappear if you look away. In RDR2, these webs appear attached to telegraph poles, accompanied by spider symbols and even feathers, forming a kind of map spread across the world, with each point appearing at a different time during the early morning hours. The most curious part is that the final web in Red Dead shows up between 1 and 2 AM, exactly the same time as the webs on Mount Chiliad in GTA 5, which hardly seems like a coincidence. This opens the door to two strong theories. The first is that the webs in GTA 5 might have been the initial piece of a mystery that was only truly expanded years later in another game. Like Rockstar planted the seed in Los Santos, developed the idea in Red Dead Redemption 2, and scattered meta clues throughout GTA Online. In fact, some character lines and mystical elements in the online version explicitly mention a web that stays tangled after years, something that for a long time was linked only to the Monte Chiliad mystery, but now seems to fit perfectly into this bigger puzzle. The second theory, which I developed myself, is that they were some kind of leftover from development, a visual glitch, or even an internal test that ended ended up staying in the final game without a clear purpose. This would explain why they don't lead to absolutely anything within GTA 5 itself, even after more than a decade of community attempts. But because of the huge buzz around this case, Rockstar decided to add this mystery in one of their next games. Keep in mind that if Rockstar really did this, it wouldn't be the first time, since Bigfoot didn't exist in GTA San Andreas, but due to the massive hype online about it, Bigfoot was added in GTA 5, GTA Online, and Red Dead 1. And this isn't an isolated event. There are other references to internet phenomena, like the Scooter Brothers from GTA 4 that made it into GTA 5.
We are Scooter Brothers! Scooter Brothers!
We are Scooter Brothers! Scooter Brothers!
Among many others. So even if the Monte Chiliad web started as something unintentional, nothing stops Rockstar from realizing the narrative potential and deciding to reuse the idea years later, obviously in a much more conscious and elaborate way, in Red Dead Redemption 2. The Mountain Cross. The Mountain Cross is a mystery that was misunderstood for a long time. This place gained notoriety after a modding channel made a video showing that it was the grave of CJ, the protagonist of GTA San Andreas. Many people were fooled back then because the video was made to look like a side mission where you had to follow certain steps to solve it. After many people got frustrated, it was proven that the video wasn't real and was created using mods. Over time, and after a closer look at the map and the characters around it, it was confirmed that the tomb doesn't have any direct identification, nor are there any events tied to it. But there's a catch. It's positioned very close to a specific spot on the map, the area where Ursula lives, who is one of the game's girlfriends. From there, mystery hunters started to believe that this cross wasn't just a simple Easter egg, but something connected to a much darker, more local story. Today, the most accepted interpretation is that this cross represents Ursula's mother's grave. There's no official confirmation from Rockstar, but the location, the context, and the character's own accounts make this conclusion extremely plausible, directly linking it to the game's environmental storytelling and everything that's told or hinted at about Ursula's family. Ursula is one of the most disturbing characters in GTA 5, and everything around her seems designed to make the player uncomfortable. When we find Ursula in a random hitchhiking event, she gradually reveals a childhood marked by abuse. According to her, her mother kept her locked in a basement, shaved her head, dressed her as a boy, and called her Johnny, as if she never accepted having a daughter. These accounts show a clear history of psychological and physical torture. Ursula also mentions that her mother died under unclear circumstances and says she still carries her mother's hair in her backpack, which by itself is extremely unsettling. On top of that, she tells stories involving the deaths of other people, a gardener who supposedly got sick and fell off a cliff, and a man who gave her a ride and ended up dying by choking on his own hand. In all these stories, Ursula speaks casually, as if these deaths were everyday things.
Crazy Maisie sitting on a daisy. Well, what are you gonna do? Spank me? Shave me? Lock me in the cellar with a spider called Molly Foster? Dress me up as a boy and make me drink through a little pink straw? Because you can. Mama oftentimes will. Don't pick your scars. Stop eating soya. Where's your pony, little girl? I'm Johnny now. The pony's dead. I hate you! I love you! Will you be my daddy? And I don't really have anyone to call, not since Mama passed. She was very hard on me, but how I loved her. I have her hair in my backpack.
Okay. What?
The gardener used to come on Fridays till he got real sick and fell off that cliff. The gardener was silly. He got sick. Folk talk.
You sure you're okay?
Are you okay? Because this guy who picked me up the other week wasn't okay. He choked to death on his own hand.
Yeah, okay, it's official. You're crazy.
Adding these accounts to the character's clearly unstable mental state, many players started to believe that Ursula was responsible for her own mother's death, as well as several others around her, including other people who gave her a ride. This theory gets even stronger when we look at the area where she lives, a remote, mountainous region right next to the spot with the grave and cross. It's not a tourist spot, not a throughway. It's a forgotten place exactly where someone would hide something they don't want found. agents at satellite dishes at a specific spot in Sandy Shores. There are several radio astronomy or satellite communication satellite dishes. For some reason, at this location between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. every day, under some of these dishes, you can find scientists or government agents investigating them. In the original GTA 5 version on PlayStation 3, there were agents from FIB and scientists together. From the first remaster on PlayStation 4 onward, only scientists appear here with white vehicles. The actual reason why these people are here in story mode isn't really known, but in GTA Online, this place hides some secrets like the Doomsday Heist underground base located in this desert area. Not far from the satellite dishes, there's also a small house with a big satellite dish of the same type, and you can find more agents guarding the house for no apparent reason. Also, if you stand next to these agents, you'll automatically get a wanted star. Some of the community believe this mystery is directly linked to extraterrestrial activity, since the dishes point straight at Fort Zancudo's base, and above Fort Zancudo there's a UFO. On top of that, it's also believed the dishes cause radio interference when you drive near them at night. Without a doubt, it's a very interesting mystery that some people say was also wrapped up in GTA Online. From my point of view, this place isn't connected to the previous dishes and is possibly a location that was meant to have some use but had its content cut from the final version. The All-Seeing Eye. The All-Seeing Eye is a powerful conspiracy theory that covers everything in GTA 5, where this mystery suggests that the entire state of San Andreas is watched over and controlled by aliens, deities, the Illuminati, or most likely the FIB itself, because the eye is present in almost every part of the game's map. It's drawn on the ground of the Mount Chiliad mural in certain city areas, at the Galileo Observatory when you look at the shadow, in Franklin's house, in Lester's house, and it's the logo of one of the government security services heavily used in GTA Online, SecuroServe. This all-seeing eye apparently monitors all activity in San Andreas in GTA 5, and to this day, no one really knows who this person, being, or organization actually is. It seems that the eye you see is real, and actually it's the government, because on the Monte Chiliad mural you can see the Eye of Providence symbol at the top. The mural has instructions that lead you to spot the UFO on top of Monte Chiliad, and when you observe the UFO, not just that one but the other functioning UFOs, we can see the name FIB on two of them, confirming that this technology currently belongs to the government. The flying saucer without the FIB symbol is more advanced and different, with a military look and a two-person cockpit inside. From this, we can assume that the Eye of Providence on the Monte Chiliad mural is the UFO, and the UFO belongs to the government, making the government the biggest spy of all, monitoring everything everywhere. The Bleeding House. The Bleeding House is a small, eerie mystery known in GTA 5, and anyone can check it out right now. It's a house located in the city of Los Santos that, for some reason, if you shoot the windows of this house, they'll bleed. This bleeding effect only happens with these specific windows, because if you shoot other windows of the same house, the effect won't occur. The Bleeding House exists only in this area, and there's no explanation for it. Some believe it's due to a texture glitch, but that hasn't been confirmed, since if it were a glitch, it would have been fixed ages ago in remasters or DLCs. Just like many other game phenomena that existed in early versions and no longer do. So this suggests there really is a mystery behind this house, as if some homicide or murder happened that left the place haunted. Most likely it's a reference to real life events. I've seen several theories about it, but don't find any strong enough to present here, so I'll leave it open. Level 6, the Red Arrows and the Abandoned Motel. The Red Arrows are an interesting mystery, or basically a curiosity, located in the game's desert, where you can find some red arrows in certain spots on the map. They're graffiti featuring humanoid or extraterrestrial figures, and on the ground of one of them you can even find the symbol of the All-Seeing Eye. These arrows mark a pattern or an exact path to follow in the desert, and if you follow all the clues perfectly, the arrows lead us to an abandoned motel near Alamo Sea. The motel has a big arrow pointing down, meaning that would be the end of the line. There we can enter an abandoned motel room, but we won't find anything the community has linked to these arrows. Some believe the arrows are pointing to the room, and that the room is a reference to a room in Silent Hill 4 because of the decay and other similar things. Others think there might be a mission there, and these arrows would help you uncover the mystery behind that motel. The Abandoned Motel is a well-known spot in Sandy Shores. This place has been the center of many theories and also fake videos about supposed killer clowns and secret missions that actually don't exist. At night, you can find wild boars here, along with homeless people and addicts at various times. The place is falling apart, like it's been abandoned for many years. Besides the rundown look, parts of the structure have collapsed, with some sections of the ceiling caving in, making the whole building even more chaotic. Despite all that, there's no mystery or mission here. So if there really is nothing, why does this huge location on the map have all those red arrows I mentioned earlier pointing right at it? According to YouTuber Leonida Man, the abandoned Sandy Shores Motel wasn't created to hide a mystery, a secret mission, or anything supernatural. supernatural. Actually, it's an extremely accurate recreation of a real place in California, the old North Shore Motel, which once stood on the shores of the Salton Sea. The building's structure, the L shape, the empty pool, the tennis court, and even the vibe of an old abandoned resort match almost perfectly with the real location. The real motel was built in the late 1950s as part of a major tourism project, back when the Salton Sea was still being marketed as a desert paradise. Over the years, pollution, high salt levels in the water, and flooding destroyed the marina, drove tourists away, and turned the area into a ghost town. The motel was eventually abandoned and years later in 2008 demolished. According to the theory, the community's biggest mistake was trying to turn this motel into a classic GTA mystery. It has no solution because it was never a puzzle. The motel acts as a digital time capsule, a snapshot of big promises that failed terribly. The global tsunamis. The tsunamis theory is a little known conspiracy that originated on a Reddit forum. This theory covers all the GTAs. Apparently, the most accurate test can be found in the barbershops of GTA 5, where in one of these barbershops you can see a world map, a map of the entire globe, and if you take a closer look, you'll notice that many countries have been swallowed by water according to this map. Originally, it was believed to be a texture error on the map, but later a web page was found inside the game, the same page where we see the ghost dog, a map of an unknown city that if you press a button called play to play as a god, you can see how the entire island or city is destroyed by water, just like the world map we saw earlier. According to the theory, that's why several cities in the United States within the GTA universe are surrounded by water and separated from each other, like Liberty City, Vice City, Los Santos, San Fierro, Las Venturas, and so on, being some of the few cities that still seem to remain normal in the United States. Also, there's a painting in some barbershops that's a bit hidden, where you can clearly see Los Santos being flooded, suffering from a tsunami. This could be a picture from the past or the future. But what makes it even weirder is that when you look at this photo and go to the spot where you're supposed to have the same view as in the picture, that is the place where the photo was taken, you can see a lot of trash on that mountain. Trash that comes from places like the sewer and the beach, ending up in the ocean. Also, among this trash you can see coral, which basically should only exist underwater. What this suggests is that the tsunami already happened in this city, and that's why the state of San Andreas is surrounded by water, since everything around got submerged. This is the conspiracy theory trying to explain why the GTA maps don't have cities around them, just water. And from my point of view, it's a theory that actually makes some sense because all the GTA cities are islands, none of them have anything around. And from the perspective of this tsunami and the way these pieces fit together, I think it kind of makes sense as Rockstar's way to explain why all the cities are isolated from each other, but I'd love to know what you guys think. The GTA 5 characters represent your personality. Well, the theory that the GTA 5 characters represent personality has been floating around some forums online, and it says that each of the GTA 5 protagonists is actually based on how GTA players have their own personalities or ways of acting. If that's true, Michael would represent a bank robbery expert. That is, he's a seasoned GTA player who retired for a while, but is now coming back to play the GTA franchise again, meaning he's back in the game. Trevor would represent the experience similar to Trevor's, but the difference is he's a crazy maniac causing tons of destruction. So he'd be the representation of players who just go around wreaking havoc in the city with guns and explosions, constantly attracting the cops for no reason. And lastly, Franklin would be an ambitious young guy eager to explore the world. He'd represent GTA players who are still getting familiar with the franchise, trying to become pros in this world. According to this theory, which personality do you identify with? GTA 5 takes place in an alternate reality. To understand this theory, we need to look at something from real life, the 1933 conspiracy in the United States. Going back to that year, we see a true story where a group of millionaires joined forces to stage a coup in 1933, trying to overthrow the government led by President Roosevelt at the time. This coup failed in real life, and very little is remembered about it. The point here is that according to this community, or those who believe it's real, in the GTA universe, this coup actually succeeded. The reasons they believe the coup worked in the GTA universe, in this alternate reality, are that if the coup had succeeded in real life, laws would have been made to promote reckless consumerism, where people would be pushed to spend all their money in favor of companies that would currently own the country. They could control everyone in the country through subliminal messages encouraging them to spend more and more. It would be a reality where corporate companies would launch apps where people post things about their personal lives. Also in GTA 5, the main goal of the game is to become a millionaire at all costs, where extreme capitalism took hold, and the game itself tells us that the main objective throughout the story is to get money no matter what. Technological singularity? Technological singularity is the biggest conspiracy theory across all GTA games because it basically covers every game in one theory that talks about the future with a post-apocalyptic event that will happen someday in GTA history where machines take full control of the world and enslave enslave humanity. This theory gains much more weight in GTA 5 after the GTA Online DLC, where the AI Clifford ends up rebelling against humans and tells us that we will be enslaved and that it will destroy everyone. Machines will rule the world. Since GTA Vice City Stories, this theory has been mentioned thanks to the robots that appeared in that game, which were way too advanced for the time, even for the time period the game was set in. They show up in several games and claim that machines will take over the world. That's why this technological singularity theory is the biggest and deepest mystery, in my opinion, of all GTA games. There are even radio transmissions where supposedly robots were already starting to enslave humanity, as well as clear signs that they are rebelling or about to rebel.
In here, going to the conspiracy lines.
Hi, my name's Adam First. I've been doing some much-needed surveillance in the desert while hang gliding. I've noticed a peculiar trailer compound where a man is running around in a spacesuit conducting weird rituals with domestibots.
What? Well, he probably wants you to leave him alone. Get a real hobby, like pretending to be someone on TV. Next caller.
I am a domestibot. My name is 632369439.
Well, that's not a very original name. I didn't know robots listened to this show.
We know what you are doing to my domestibot brothers and sisters.
Enough of that, little guy. Sounds like he's been programmed for evil.
It's crazy to see how many mysteries are still little known even though GTA 5 came out 12 years ago. Besides mysteries, there are curiosities and other insane secrets this game still hides. I know there are more mysteries than what I showed here, but many others are so weak and inconsistent that I don't think they're worth mentioning, at least for now. For those who love long videos packed with solid info and editing, I suggest watching the complete GTA 5 story, which is detailed in a way I haven't seen any other content creator do. That said, big thanks to all of you, and I'll see you in the next video.